It's just after 12:30 in New York, and Toronto is just after 5:30 in Lisbon, where I am. I'm Dr. Samita Nandy from the Center for Media and Celebrity Studies. A little bit about the Center for Media and Celebrity Studies. It's an international research network that coordinates academic research and media commentaries on fame. We have been in the Telegraph, Vice, Claire, Chaplain, Global News, Yahoo Entertainment for our views on celebrity culture. We primarily study film stars who are also working actively. Today we have fantastic actors with us. We have Ken Holmes and we have Claire Hazel. Welcome
Ah,
to our live conversation. Can you please introduce yourself,
thank you.
Ken and Claire?
Go ahead, Ken.
Hi, I lost connection. Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, perfect. Can you introduce yourself, Ken?
Oh, yes, brilliant. Good start. Well, my name is Ken Holmes. I am a writer and an actor in New York City. I've done a couple films. I've done like, I guess, 9 films. And I kind of specialize in like experimental filmmaking.
Perfect. We're having a bit of echo. Please bear with us. Make sure that the laptop audio is off and the phone audio is 100%. Our phones are fantastic, and what a wonderful technology. We're connecting from all over the world. Claire, where are you now?
Yes. I am in Panama. I live in Chiriquí, in an area of Panama, which is all the way at the west near Costa Rica. I am an actress and a writer as well. I've published 2 novels. I'm about to publish my 3rd. And I have been mostly in theater. I have been in a couple of films as a background actor.
Yes.
But I've been mostly in theater.
Yes.
In about 6 shows.
Perfect. And both of you have a bit of an educational background in theater. Ken and Claire, you had your bachelor's for theater. Is that correct?
Yeah, I graduated from Castleton University in Vermont. I had a Bachelor of Arts in Theater, and I also had a minor in writing, too.
Okay. And Claire, I think you also studied theater. You did a lot of things.
I did. I did not complete my university degree. I was actually studying architecture, but I did take a course in theater at the university, and I just trained with the troupe that I was in here in Panama, with the Talingo Productions crew.
Okay, fantastic. Now I have a very important question. What inspired you to go for acting? Like, was it something artistic? Was it social? Was it both? I'm going to share my views, but I want to hear from you.
Okay.
Ken?
Well, for me, I've been like acting pretty much all my life. As a little kid in school, I didn't really understand that acting was like was a career. So I would act out in front of my classmates, and I would pretend to be all these different characters. And when I turned 12, I auditioned for a play in college, and I got in. And I got like a little child's part in The Merry Wives of Windsor, Shakespeare's The Merry Wives of Windsor. And I just got bit by the acting bug. And so from 12 on, I've just been doing tons of community theater. I loved being on stage. I loved just the smell of theater. I loved the audience. I loved everything about it. And when I graduated college in 2009, I saw an audition actually a friend saw an audition for a film over in Baltimore. So we drove out there, and then I realized that I love film as well. It's totally different from theater. Theater is incredibly ephemeral, and film lasts forever. I love both. I definitely am glad I got my start in theater, though. But yeah, I've just been going nonstop since then.
and so many film actors will keep going back to theater. Claire, you have a wonderful experience in theater and visual
Yeah.
presentation, which is part of the creative process. And talk about that
Yes.
too. Yeah. What's your experience?
Well, mine sort of took a turn when I was really young. I was writing very early, and I was maybe 13 when I first wrote a story, and but I never thought it was going to be my career. I thought I was going to go into design or something that had, I was more familiar with other areas of expertise because I lived in Venezuela at the time when I was really young. Acting, it was like you have to go modeling or be a pageant winner in order to be an actress.
Yeah.
So then I moved to the States, and I had already directed in high school a play that I wrote with my friends, and I got married, had kids. I did my life backwards, as they say. So I eventually went back to acting through a soap opera, oddly enough. But I didn't take it up professionally until I was here in Panama with my first play, which was a murder mystery. I got to sing and act at the same time, and it was an amazing experience, and I couldn't get enough of it. And I had started writing at the same time, so both my writing and acting career fledged out in the same direction and at the same time, right? After years of sort of experimenting with this troupe, I started developing my own techniques while I was sick for about 2 years. I didn't have anything to do. So all I did was wait for treatment. I was in bed most of the time, and I mostly worked and developed my characters. And I decided that developing my characters for writing as an actress worked even better. And this is what I'm working on now. I'm working on developing my workshop physically and a program that I want to launch online alongside my writing and acting career. And the character creation part of it is what I want to sort of focus on and develop, as well as, start producing my own thing and directing my own thing. I just started recently. I want to swim in the world of film, which is a lot more interesting right now at the moment for me, because there are more possibilities for the distance wise thing. We are disconnected from the physical world of each other, and I think my connectivity has recently been more like this. So I'm going to explore this world a whole lot more. And I'm glad to be here and meeting people from all over the world too.
Yeah. Like, I have to be
Yeah.
honest, my filmmaking, which is primarily related to short films, and thanks to mobile filmmaking, it actually started in Houston. And I'm a bit
Yeah.
like Claire, I first engineered my life. Most people go on to media after they leave acting, after they leave films, but I went on to do that before, and now I'm in acting, and I just did a short film right here in the and actually I'm working on two. And the reason why I asked, did you hear that noise, by the way?
Yeah.
I don't know where it's coming from. I
It's
don't know.
it sounds like a microphone. Do you have microphones on? There may be feedback from one microphone to the
No,
other.
my audio is off. So maybe everybody could check on their side. It wasn't happening before. Anyhow,
Give me a moment.
the best we can. The reason why why did you pursue acting? It's something that I really had to decide for myself. It was an informed decision. I really never thought that I had the capacity to memorize lines and just go through different scripts. I mean, it's quite a cerebral process. And as a postdoc, I would say that my capacity is quite like overload, I would say. But my reason to act was to express and not necessarily impress. And for me, representation matters, visibility is key, and that's what we explore in media culture. And the more characters we could give a life to, it is very good, and we bring a lot of diversity instead of just, depending on what tabloid media is going to provide us with. And
Yeah.
we know film stars are also working actors, but that's something that the audience is not very familiar with. It's only after going to the drama school I went to, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, I learned what it takes to be a working actor, how diverse it is, and the fact that we are enough. It's in our genetic material, it's in the DNA that we have, it's in the history that we
Yeah.
bring, and that was really reassuring. And as a celebrity studies scholar, it just made more sense to come with more experience instead of just coming from a journalistic background. I was a journalist before, and so I felt I was able to bridge gaps, and that's something we're all doing together. So there was a
Yeah.
social component to it. Claire, you bit talked about your creative process. You
Yeah.
develop characters. You're developing your own style in doing that. Is that one of your main techniques, or there's something else that
Yeah.
you also do?
I'm a method actress. So I studied the method on my own. I just read a lot, watched a lot of videos. I studied for years,
Yeah.
and I decided that when I got stuck with a character while I was writing it, because I write historical fiction,
Yes.
and like you say, bridge the gaps, right? I brought in from my other experiences, as the method does too. And I decided I wanted to embody the characters that I was writing. So my technique, which developed from the method, applies to writing as well. So instead of just putting characters on paper, I actually became them to understand them so I could write them, what they were feeling, what they were going through. There's a particular one that I created inspired through the experiences that I had, especially with my daughter, and us playing together and just having fun in nature. And these characters take on the lives of these women who are essentially warriors, right? And one of them, to give you just this as an example, Fleck is a character who takes on from the animals that she sees to create her fighting style, which is done in other in martial arts, right? And I didn't know how to write her because I didn't want her to have the voice of my daughter or mine, but she was sort of a mixture of the two of us. And I just started using this rod. I have them all over my house. I have one here. Look, this one's a bamboo one. So I started experimenting with weights. This is a bamboo, so it's very light, and I twirl them. You know, I started walking with them. I'm like, oh, it's my walking rod, and I actually collect them, paint them, and everything. So it became my tool. So if I couldn't think of what a character would say, I'd get up, walk around, and just twirl it. And Fleck became from this. So her style of fighting, which is with a rod, gave me a little more insight as to what this character was and her relationship with the other women of the clan, which is what I call it. So she's an example of this. So I took from the method and to develop my writing, and my writing became more of an experience that had to do with my acting. So the two worlds for me are essentially almost the same.
That's fantastic. And you're
Yeah.
self-taught in method acting, and I love
Yes.
your creative process. Ken, how would you relate to that?
I can relate to that in a way. I have often, like, I've written my character bios, and before starting a scene, I recently worked with a well-known actress. I won't say who because the project's not out yet, but she does something that I've done in the past and I really like, and that's getting into the scene before action is shot. You know, the crew is setting up, but you don't need to be a blank slate while that's happening. You can improvise what you think is happening before the scene starts, and that way when action is called you can just be, you know, you're right there. And I've done that in the past. I love improv. I feel like improv is almost like it's like acting. I guess it's the love of acting and writing combined. And so I guess another thing I've always done ever since I was a kid was to just get into the mind of my characters. I used to love playing characters who were the opposite of myself, because I felt like that was my chance to get into the mind of, you know, I've always been a good kid, so I liked playing bad guys. It was just my way of
It
doing
lets you
that.
explore those worlds, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting to be who you're not. And as I've gotten older, I've realized, of course, you know, there's more to acting than just being who you're not. There's also understanding who you are. So I've tried to meet the two worlds, and now, you know, I'm not afraid of learning about myself, but I also like learning about my fellow person too. And I feel like it's really helped me not only understand myself, but understand humanity to do that. And I guess I'm all over the place, but I hope that answered your
It's
question.
important, right? You can't really portray anything with any reality if you don't have a grasp of what humanity is all about, what people are feeling, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you can't do that. And also, as I've gotten older, I've learned you also can't really understand other people until you've learned until you've met yourself as well. So it's the
Exactly.
combination of self-awareness, the knowledge of self, but also a grasp of humanity as best as you can understand, of course, because you can only see things from your own perspective.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's so much more than what we're told, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
what we could imagine. And it's beyond, you know, playing certain social roles. We got a very good comment from Catherine Fantasky. She says, very interesting. Mary, would you like to share some of your reflections on this? And how do you relate this creative process to what you observe in the media? Mary, I think your audio is off. To those who are on Instagram, hopefully you could hear for a few minutes. Mary Fantastic. She is speaking on all other platforms. Mary, can you speak now? I think your audio is,
I can hear you.
you could hear. Oh, okay, it's me. Sorry. Mary, sorry.
I just want to remind everybody to turn themselves to mute themselves when they're not talking. I think it'll help with the echoing. But this is an area I actually haven't spoken on, but for years I actually wrote my own short stories just for fun. It was one of my side hobbies for a very long time. And I recently got into a bit of nonfiction writing as well. But it is very true that when you're writing or acting, it's amazing how you find things out about yourself that you didn't realize, even if you're writing a character that's totally opposite of what I was discussing. And I think that a very fascinating insight into your artistic process. And so thank you for bringing that up. But not only learning about yourself, but humanity as well. And I wonder if we could maybe speak a little bit more to that. Claire, would you like to discuss how your artistic process, as you were discussing, has affected your non-acting life, your relationships with others, if it has at all?
It has, and I think in a good way, and in a way that I had to process and learn over the years to sort of contain, because there's a good exploratory aspect to acting and writing. Like Ken was saying, you sort of delve into the humanity of the people who surround you. Those who are around you, I am now single, and at the time when I started acting, I was married. I have children who are grown. They're you know, they were around me when I was doing certain plays, and it because I'm a method actress, it kind of affects them. There are times where perhaps I needed to do somebody who was really distraught, and I bring this with me. I try to go home and release myself from a character, and sometimes it takes longer than some other characters. And I remember the last show that I was in, I had to participate in this big thing where we got bombed, and we were civilians being attacked. So it was like a huge deal every night. And I remember coming home and crying before going in the shower to try to, like, it was still with me. The pain that those people had gone through in the 80s here in Panama, it stays with you. So it ultimately affects your life in this way. And as a trained actor, you have to learn how to release yourself from it. So, you sing, you cook, you shower, you do what you need to do, and you release it. But it affects you to a certain degree. Now, the good part of that is that it gives you a connectivity to your own humanity and that of others. So you become more aware, and then it makes you a better writer. For me, it's made me a better writer and an actor, because I portray things that I didn't understand before. So it has become an opportunity for growth in a lot of different ways.
I feel the same.
So I feel like I'm a better actor writer for it.
Yeah, because when you make these creative choices, it also gives you a lot of agency, and you have to learn what to say yes to and what to say no to in order to commit to those creative choices and how important they become. And this is something that we don't really grow up learning, and we're going to go into media culture a little bit, because that's something that doesn't really show the whole society that we live in, and what to say yes to, what to say no to, and what do we actually commit to sometimes. And I think this creative process actually enables us to make those creative choices and commit to those. Ken, would you agree with that? And you have been to a lot of film festivals that I'm very proud of. What is your experience, just, actually engaging with so many festivals, and, if that's your primary media network, how do you feel like about your agency and becoming stronger as a person because of all the creative choices that you have to make, and making it available to the media networks that you're in?
Yeah, well, thank you for the acknowledgement of all the festivals. It's definitely been a crazy time, and I'm incredibly grateful for all the festivals that I've gotten my films into. Just a quick shout out to all the people that I'm working on the web series Zoom Shorts with. Zoom Shorts is, our episodes have been in a few festivals and then won some awards. And also before that, my series Old Hearts Cafe, a comedy series about these characters that go into a cafe and the lives they lead. But yeah, so thank you so much. It's definitely, like I said, like I like to do experimental and collaborative filmmaking. So that's not only helps me understand the characters that are in the world of the films that I make, but also the people that I make the films with. From like the actors, I love to co-direct. So I get to see how a lot of different people work, and it's been a truly rewarding experience to do that. I like that more personally than creating art in a vacuum. It just helps me. But you know, I can do both. But I just love working with somebody else, and maybe that's partly because I grew up an only child. So you know, it's nice to be with people. Maybe I was a lonely kid growing up. I don't know. I don't know if it would be different if I had siblings. But
I relate to it. I was an only child.
yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely do feel like working on these films as a writer and also as an actor has definitely helped me understand the world at large better. Um, I wouldn't say that I understand anything, to be honest, but I understand things as best as I can. And um, and also just like getting into the minds of the different characters, like Claire was talking about, it's definitely been a because I used to play a lot of darker roles. I don't as much anymore. Maybe I'm just a beacon of light now. I don't know, but I used to get cast as a lot of dark roles, a lot of really bad people, and so I would have to turn that off. You know, I can't go through.
Do you feel like it's probably something that they connect you to or something that you're connected to?
Well, that's a good question. It might be me because I feel like I have grown a lot, and maybe people saw something dark within me, and that's why I got cast in those roles. And now I feel like spreading more positivity, and I don't communicate that, but maybe that just comes across when I audition for something.
I think you have a good look for it. For in particular, like I see it. You have the like a bone structure and a thing about you that would show that side of you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I really like it. Like I would definitely cast you for it too.
Thank you.
But I was wondering about it last week because I'm really connected to Marilyn Monroe, who is the character that I use, not the character, but the person that I based my last novel on, because I explore the duality of being an actor and a writer. One of my characters is a writer in the 1980s, and the other one is an actress in the era of golden Hollywood, the golden, how do you call those? The golden years of Hollywood. So I base it on Marilyn, and I've always been cast for things that are sort of like demure and, you know, the very breathy actor, and it's exhausting sometimes. I went to I'm glad I'm getting older because I can portray different things, and despite the fact that there are not many roles out there for people like me, and it angers me because I'm an aging actress who doesn't have those opportunities anymore. You know, I can't portray the young character in a play, for example. I have to grasp at other things, but it's also presented this opportunity to portray something with more depth to it. I think villains actually present this more than protagonists do, because you have to pull from places you have no idea were there, right? But don't you feel like maybe they're sort of putting you into this, they're pigeonholing you into something that you don't want to do all the time? Do you feel this way?
Yeah, just gonna pause for a second. We got a comment here, and there's a lot of echo while Claire was speaking. So Claire, if you could double check your audio, I would ask everybody to check
Okay.
their audio. It was probably when you were speaking, so if you could turn off the laptop audio, which I had to do myself, and then I couldn't hear Mary. So sorry about that, hopefully you can hear us better right now. Yeah, I do hear you, Claire, and you're also, I think, part of feminism or any social justice movement is actually to create, to produce what we don't see. And there are a lot of characters that I'm developing right now that I don't necessarily see. Also, I'm a huge advocate for animals. So a lot of times I would just slip in, something that's cruelty free. Yeah. So because that's something that would relate to a lot of animal lovers or environmentalists or climate change, advocates. These are things that we didn't see in what you said, the golden era of Hollywood. I think a lot got missed out, and we do have structural gaps in our society. But as writers, as producers, now we have the capacity to bridge that gap. And now I'm a bit like Claire. I don't know if Ken, you feel the same, but as we grow older, we're actually proud of the observations that we have made. There are a lot of things I wish I did before, but hey, now is such a good time, and I feel like technology has democratized arts and entertainment so much, and that's why, like Claire and Panama and Ken in New York, I mean, we're able to actually bring a lot of generic shifts. Before I forget, Ken, you talked about Zoom Shorts, and I don't know if you're the first one to do this, but you're one of the first ones. I would be happy if you claim to be the first one in bringing this generic shift. Am I correct? Like, this is something we never really saw before.
Yeah, well, like you said, I don't know if I'm the first, but definitely among the first, I think. Um, and it is a great way so the premise of Zoom Shorts is just, and it actually was, I can't take full credit for it. I'm one of three creators, and Karen Clommy, one of the creators, was the person who first had like the big idea of having uh, people from all over the world self-record monologues, because this was born out of COVID, the quarantine
Yes.
phase of COVID, and we wanted people to self-record monologues and improvised, and we would edit them and make stories. And this was a way to still create stories while we were cooped up in our homes.
Just I'm going to
And
pause for a second. The echo is back with the Ken, I think. Could you turn off the laptop audio? Sorry,
yeah, my laptop audio is off.
it's off, so we're just using the phone right now. I hope it works. Sorry about that, Ardil. I hear the echo. Let's try this again. So we were talking about Zoom Shorts, and this happened during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's been a great way of collaborating with people from all over the world, and we've definitely we've worked with people that we might not have worked with before because they're in different locations. So we don't have to fly people out from to New York. They can record from their homes or wherever works to record, and it's just been beautiful for that reason. And yeah, and it's cool because like I said, like I don't know if I'm one of the first. Like there are people, like there was just a movie I just saw that was completely on Skype, which I thought was kind of brilliant. And it was all from the perspective of the desk of the computer. So there are other people like trying out this different
Wow.
format. Technology has definitely opened some doors, and I think it's brilliant. Especially with social distancing, and things seem to be kind of I don't like to say going back to normal, but like at least in New York, productions are starting up again. But even so, it's still
So
a great
exciting.
way to work with people that you might not have worked with otherwise.
Yeah, and something that I noticed in doing shorts is that you're actually drawing on so many generic styles, like you included animation, illustration, stand-up comedy, like name it. So I would say to all the viewers, if you are a movie lover and you're aspiring to be an actor, this is actually not a bad time. It's one of the best times to consider and also develop more appreciation for a diverse range of genres and just not beyond Hollywood, to begin with this course. And this is such a fantastic time. I mean, I actually got trained in acting during the pandemic. I was planning before, I just didn't plan the pandemic, and so when it happened, it happened during the pandemic. And it has been a wonderful experience, and it has been across the Atlantic, both in Canada and here in Portugal. And what a lovely place to shoot, for cinematography. I mean, this wonderful. That's something that, really occurred to me during the pandemic. It really forced me to consider location because I just didn't want to be in quarantine at home. You know, so I think the small shorts, that's a great idea. And also to be able to go outside and shoot in very creative ways, um, that's possible too.
Hmm.
Mary, do you have any reflection on this?
About what technology has done for us. When we are looking at where we are now versus the old days of Hollywood, we have so much new technology. And I think that COVID forced us to really push technology to its brink. So how can we use this in new creative ways? And I was wondering if any one of the three of you wanted to speak a little more to the differences you noticed between acting pre-COVID, acting in a theater setting in front of a whole film crew versus Zoom shorts, the Skype movie that you mentioned. Is there anything in particular that you have noticed that's been interesting to you about the difference?
I I I was in a Zoom Christmas showcase thing, and it was really fun to do because it was a very short skit. It was a comedy, and we shot it in one take, and it was all sort of written, so this was a platform that we could use.
Yeah, we have a
Um,
question here. Wonder if one day can do acting while in different rooms. That's Ardell asking. Yes,
yeah, that's kind of how we did it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, we did it. I was in my house, and somebody else was in somebody else's house. And some people were in Canada, some were in the States, and we all did it online via Zoom. This is actually how I plan to record a second session of Black Tears, which is something that I created, did on my own, and filmed with a couple cameras and in a small setting with very little. I had no money. I invested in nothing, just my time. So I think this medium, the best part of it, what it presents, is the opportunity to create and become resourceful. I had to work on my own. I didn't have the opportunity to be within reach of those in the industry that worked with me before, because I was in a state where here there's a community theater, but there is not a theater per se. They had a small theater, which doesn't really produce plays anymore because there's just not the opportunity recently. So for me, it has been a way to create something new. I've talked to people about creating things distance-wise. I don't want to stop acting because we are in quarantine. So I've been doing what I can when I can with the people that I can for free. I'm not getting paid for it. I don't care as long as I'm acting. And it's just a matter of learning how to work with a medium. There's an opportunity there. We can create new angles and new things. We can communicate in different ways. I can talk to you with my body parts as you can't work in theater. You can break the fourth wall in a different way because we have this medium to help us. I don't think it's a hindrance anymore.
I don't think so. I think the media has expanded, if anything. A lot of my interviews continue to be on phone calls, on Zoom. I mean, that happened before. It's still happening now. And in order to shoot anything, you could also ship. I shipped equipment from New York actually, and it's nothing is really stopping. I hope there's no echo. Anybody here is hearing echo?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So I think sometimes the machines are just like conflicting with each other. But yeah, Ken, did you want to add anything? And slowly we'll wrap up with your current projects and your vision as well. Ken, did you want to add anything when it comes to media, especially as working actors in Hollywood? What would you say?
Well, I guess the thing I would add to all of that is just that it's sometimes adversity really creates an opportunity for creativity, and you have to think, as the cliche goes, you have to think outside of the box.
Outside the box.
And that's just been what we have to do. But sometimes you come up with some of your best work that way. And so, I don't think, I'm not sure if what I'm currently working on, Zoom Shorts, would exist if it hadn't been for COVID and for quarantining. We just had to. So yeah, that's just the way it goes. I sometimes wish that you could just create in total happiness, but sometimes you need that adversity to create something wonderful.
That has definitely happened. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask, what are your current projects? What's the future vision, especially as working actors in Hollywood? This is our topic today. What would you say, Claire?
So, I am a busybody. Well, lately I decided to pick everything back up. So I am about to publish another novel. Hopefully by August this year, if not like October. I'm planning by October of this year. I've already talked to a couple of people about filming or starting a series on angels. Hopefully in August. And I also have the idea that I may be able to produce a play. We'll see how that goes. I'm starting my memoir this year as well, publishing next year, hopefully. And I'm going to start writing to pitch a feature film. I don't know how that's going to go, but yeah, I'm going to try to get investors and people involved in the project. I've been
as well. I'm writing a novel. I'm writing with my co-writer, and we're planning to turn it into a screenplay. It's a long journey, but Claire, you have so much on the go, and I'm sure, you know, if anybody wants to follow you, you're a huge inspiration. We're going to get
Oh,
them
thank
into
you.
the social media handles.
Thank you.
Ken, what's your current project and future
Well,
vision?
as far as my work as a filmmaker and writer, I've definitely just been focusing a lot on Zoom shorts, also some short films through my production company, which is Rain and Neon Productions.
Yeah.
I started it in 2008, and then I just recently, thanks in part to the pandemic, actually, I've just been realizing that I need to just create more of my own projects because you can't always rely on other people. Um, so I've been just thinking of like writing more short films, and also the web series. As far as acting goes, I've also been incredibly busy. I just wrapped a few shows. Law and Order was one, and a couple projects for Apple TV and HBO and Showtime, which I can't talk about unfortunately, but some really cool things in the works. Playing different types of
Awesome.
roles. Lately I've been playing mostly hospital staff roles, and also like office type jobs. And I've never had an office job, so this has been like one of my ways of walking in somebody else's shoes. So
That's a good way to put it.
sorry.
This is somebody asked me once, what is the best thing about acting? And I think I'm paraphrasing somebody else. I think it's Jim Carrey, if I'm not mistaken, but it's the fact that you can actually walk in somebody else's shoes on so many levels, right? You
Mm-hmm.
become all these people. Being
Yeah,
an actor, the best part of it is becoming these people, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Role of a social worker
Yeah.
last Sunday. And it
Wow.
was
Oh my
so
God.
improv. So again, you know, we have a lot of projects going on, and we can't name them, and we can't, you know, tell the details. But you're gonna see later on. This director's process is so interesting. It's completely based on improv. He has screen breakdowns, but he will pull off the whole film within the whole day. It's all based on improv. He has good direction skills, which is good.
Love it.
So I think I'm good at following those directions. But yeah, as a social worker, and all of a sudden, you know, you are with, you know, people in a room that are screaming to each other, and you know, like on the spot. Okay, my job is to take control, but I felt I'm in somebody else's shoes as well, you know,
Mm.
because it's something that, you know, I never did. But that's the whole point of acting, and I think, you know, all
Yeah.
television, theater, and film actors would agree that, you know, you're out of your comfort zone. And that's when the
Yep.
magic happens because you're so in the present. And this is such a wonderful, you know, gift to have. Ken, if anybody wanted to follow you on Instagram, on Twitter, what are your social media handles?
So my Instagram is, well, I have two Instagram accounts. My main one is actually It's Ken Holmes, ITS Ken Holmes, and that's the one that I use for most of my film projects. And so yeah, It's Ken Holmes. And then I also have a backup Instagram where I post more personal stuff, and I've also had it for longer, so you'll see that I have more photos on there. But that's just, and that's actually, I think that's the one I'm using right now. I sometimes get confused which account I'm logged into, but that's at Ken R Holmes. The R stands for Reed. That's my middle name. So at It's Ken Holmes and at Ken R Holmes. And then on Twitter, I'm just Ken R Holmes. But I'm also on Facebook. You can like my acting and directing page, just Ken Holmes, and and I'm also Rain and Neon Productions is also on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. What is it? Rain at?
Rain and Neon Productions.
Okay. So I hope everybody gets that. I am getting the echo too. The echo is just like
Yeah.
a rainfall, you know. It's just
It's
it's
a
showering.
foghorn.
rainfall, popcorn, whatever you want to call
I
it.
hope that's not me. I do have my my audio
It's
off
like a
on my
big fat
laptop.
corn.
Yeah, but we're gonna wrap up soon. Claire, where do people
Yes.
follow you?
Everywhere. I go to the mall and people run after me. Okay, Claire Hazel B on Instagram. Claire Hazel on Twitter. My Pinterest account is the one I use the most.
Okay.
That one is the CM Hazel. I use CM Hazel as my pen name.
Okay. Okay.
So, but Claire Hazel
Okay.
on both things.
Perfect. Mary,
All right.
Mary, any final thought before we sign off?
I love these conversations because I feel like it's a constant class. You're always smart, and as people are talking, like I have a million thoughts bouncing in my head, a million more questions I want to ask. All three of you. I thought we touched on something really interesting about the idea that through adversity breeds creativity, breeds new growth, and how we've seen that through COVID. As Claire touched on a little bit, it's great because you don't have to have a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of training to join in on any sort of Zoom project, these new projects that you can do from your bedroom, as long as you just have a camera, and I think that's really, really powerful. So thank all of you for bringing such an interesting discussion. I'm sure we're going to continue this discussion moving forward because, like I said, a million questions I want to ask all of you. But I just really want to emphasize thank you. Your insight was brilliant. I learned a lot, and yeah, I'm excited to continue this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. And
Thank you.
keep the comments going. We're going to have another panel next week. So please stay tuned for those details. I'm sure we're going to continue all the conversations that we have started last week. So last week's moderator, Evie, he's going to be back with us. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to turn.
We should have dinner or something one day.
What was that?
Dinner. We should have dinner or something one day. Dinner with a talent.
That's a super idea. There, maybe you're the social client. I'm gonna let you organize that. After all the live talks are over, we should have a dinner with all the actors. I'm gonna leave that to you.
Right. Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And the live stream broadcast first, and then I'm going to end IGTV. Thank you so much. We're getting.
Thank you so much, Samita and Mary. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
So we're still on IG. I just did the live stream on all different platforms. So it's just us on Instagram right now. Thank you so much again. Any final thoughts before we leave Instagram?
Thank you. Any final thoughts, Ken? Do you want to start or should I?
Oh, you could start.
I'm appreciative of being included in this conversation today, and I think it should happen more often because we are essentially in the same industry, although we are all over the world. You are in a completely different continent, and New York is so close to Panama, but at the same time so far away, and everybody is doing their own thing, but we're sort of creating things in a linear platform too. We're all going in the same direction as well, meaning, I guess I want to say it happens with art often. Everybody, we all connect and create, and we are trying to produce things that are not there yet with the mediums that are just presented to us because we don't have a choice. So I'm really appreciative of it. I'm honored to be part of this industry, and that I know that there are so many people out there that are talented that I'm just getting to know, like Ken, you know. So I'm very happy to have met you, and I'm glad I'm here and that things are presenting themselves. I think materializing things is the most important part of creating those opportunities, you know.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think having more regular conversations are so significant instead of, waiting
I
for,
can hear you.
a
The other
media
microphone.
network to, interview. These conversations are so authentic, they're so honest, they come from experience, they have informed opinions, and, like my approach is always artistic, and I always open up with questions. And my goal in art is to share what's not seen. And I think that's the goal of a lot of artwork.
Yeah,
And it would be fantastic, like if we have our own media channel where, we actually have these conversations and not necessarily
exactly.
like formal interviews all the time. Ken, what would you say?
Yeah.
I just like to just echo that, and also just keep creating,
Wait.
and keep creating, because we need as many voices. It's funny I said echoing. There's a lot of echo right now.
Yeah,
But
it turned off my computer completely.
okay. Let's see.
That's what I'm trying to do too.
No problem. But yeah, just keep creating work, because we need as many voices as possible, and I'm happy to be one of them.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. So we'll be in touch. Thank you so much for joining us. These moments are so memorable, and often, we get on a high and then we miss, the conversation. We got a lot of hearts going on. Somebody is saying hi to you. I'm sure,
Hi.
so many were there, comments were there. I'm seeing them now because I'm off the live stream on StreamYard. But yeah, I think I'm going to let Claire organize that dinner party.
We need a dinner party,
Yeah.
like soon. We
Okay.
should have, or drinks or something, you know, we should do something together. That is maybe, you know, we can get investors this way and produce a large feature film. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that I wanted to share, I didn't get the time to share, so much is going on, but I might as well share with you publicly
Yeah.
that I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it's a good thing. So I'm on Clubhouse now, and a lot of people are actually doing podcasts and just like interactive radio shows, literally on Clubhouse. And they're investors, not that, I'm looking for a venture capitalist or anything. I'm just like looking into Clubhouse, and it's like this Disneyland that is, wow, real. And of course, there are actors, filmmakers, a lot of entrepreneurs, storytellers, crafting their story pitch. It's like nonstop.
There's a lot of opportunity out there, you know, but do not close the door on the investors. We need them to help us. We need the investors.
Claire,
All right.
you're going to be the social butterfly just going around these social parties, and you're going
I'm just more than social butterflying, Samita, is just the fact that I want to create so badly. And the biggest impediment that I've had in the last maybe not decade, because I was with a group who created with very little money, is not having the actual accessibility to resources. And that's been my biggest frustration in the last years. I have many ideas that I can't sort of elaborate physically until you have this money to portray. You can do things, but you want something quality. You got to do it in a certain way, and you need the money. I mean, unfortunately, it's a necessary evil, you know. So this is where I am right now in my career. I need people to invest in my projects.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
With one final note, it's always so hard to say goodbye, but we're gonna have the dinner party.
It is.
Stage 32 is
We have to have.
Stage 32 is a fantastic interactive platform in the entertainment industry. I was interviewed
I agree.
recently, and they're really encouraging producers and actors to come together, and it's very authentic. So
I agree.
a really good platform to.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah.